Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S WORLD. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session. And when I speak of myself, me, then I'm referring to myself under hypnosis, which means that the answers are coming from the 25th. Before moving forward, I'd like to ask you, as always, to subscribe, like, and comment on this video, especially because I simply enjoy watching what's going on out there. This is how I keep my ear to the ground. So it really makes a difference for me when you share with me what's going on and what you think of these videos in terms of the information that's being spread. So I would love to hear from you. All right, I'm going to jump in here and start reading. Lorrayne, why are you in the 25th dimension? We know that dimension does not correlate to consciousness level. So why did we decide to be in the 25th dimension if we decided that? And why have we created a lower, quote unquote, lower dimensional levels within the matrix? Me. So this is actually a very good question. We understand why it's coming up because, again, we at 3D level like to think of hierarchy. So we hear 25th dimension and we think, of course, it's the highest dimension that is available. Really, the 25th dimension is a space. It's not even a place. It's a space. It's just energy. And therefore, it happens to be in the energetic vibration that it's at. And we call it 25th dimension because we've created the matrix and we have created it in a certain way. So yes, we have created to where we said, okay, we are here, so we're going to create everything else. We're going to create these dimensions, etc., etc. But it's exactly right what Clea mentioned, that it does not equal consciousness just because of the dimensional level. Now, of course, at the 25th dimension, what we call it, what we are saying that we are at, the way that we are in this dimension is the way that we are in this dimension. But it doesn't mean that, at the 21st dimension, you have higher consciousness than, say, you would have in the 18th dimension, for example. We've spoken about this before. So yes, so in that sense, it is real. In the sense, the way we set this up, we are in the 25th dimension. We did not, and so to clarify, we did not set ourselves up. We already said source has created us. We are source, but we were created by source of source. And so we happen to be here. And then when we create the dimensions, etc., we happen to end up as in we said, okay, we're in the 25th dimension. This is what this dimension looks like because we created space, really. What is the matrix? It's space. We created a space where we can play these games. So in that sense, we are in the 25th dimension, but we could have been in no dimension. We could have said to you, we're in the no dimension space. But because this is how we think of energy and dimensions and how we set them up, then yes, we are in the 25th dimension. Do we have to be in the 25th dimension? Nothing would have changed if we were in the 23rd dimension. Nothing. We could have been in the 27th dimension. It would have been the same thing. It's just a name. And again, it's almost like a scale. But again, it's not a hierarchy as in, because we're in the 25th dimension, then we do certain things. We do certain things, and we happen to be in the 25th dimension. We do certain things on planet Earth, and we happen to be in the 3rd dimension. And of course, certain dimensions make certain things easier to do. That's why certain things look a certain way in certain dimensions. But it doesn't mean that because you are in a certain dimension, you therefore have a certain level of consciousness. We in the 25th, we in this space, our higher self in this space, we know things. We know certain things. We know all. We are aware of everything. But when we create the matrix and we want to focus within the matrix, we go focus on different realities, on different game boards that happen to be in different dimensions. Because the way that we set up the matrix was by creating dimensions and creating different planets and all the good stuff that we talked about in the past. But it's not about the dimensions. It's not that we have to be in the 25th dimension. We don't have to do anything. We could have never created the matrix and would have just been. We just are. And source just is. Is source in a dimension? And they were laughing. Source is in no dimension. We don't have to be in a dimension. Lorrayne, thank you. This next question is about emotions. Clea says, I have experienced more than once moving beyond this realm and becoming one with the all. The common feeling during these experiences was that I didn't care about any one person in particular, as I was part of the all. And I feel to have all these strong emotions we have here. I was at peace, which is wonderful, but I also failed to feel the deep love I have felt and still feel for my grandmother, for example. It seems odd because I assume that she's alive and out there, but it seems that I would not feel the same way I do towards her at an essence level. At an essence level, we more than love each other, we are each other. And while we love our left arm, for example, we don't feel the same feeling of love for our left arm as we do for someone that we perceive as being other from us in this dimension. So it's interesting that we have set up this deep love that might be deep precisely because it feels ephemeral in a place where we get to spend such a short amount of time with an essence who is special to us. And then this essence, while we're connected with them forever at essence level, is really lost to us at a more individual level once we move on from this reality. Not only because they might be having their own experience somewhere else that we do not want to disturb, but also because emotions are just not as intense. It seems so cruel to love so much and to lose someone so soon, since life here is so short in appearance. We do want to have long experiences with some essences. For example, it makes sense for me to spend 10,000 years on New Earth with my daughter. I wish I could have done it with my first cat and my grandmother too, for example. Why is this idea of love and death so gripping here? While with all the truly unconditional love we have at essence level, it just doesn't feel as intense at that level. Is love desperate here because of our idea of loss and time? And even so, love feels more powerful here. Me. Yes, so we understand this question because love is something that we desire so strongly here, precisely because we don't remember it, precisely because we don't remember that we are one. So it is very much what Clea was referring to, is exactly this idea of loss that brings it to be so intense in our feelings of love because it is so short-lived. At an essence level, it's like loving your left arm. You know your left arm is part of you, and there's nothing more to say than that. We are one. It's like you thinking about loving yourself. It doesn't feel like you'd even have to think about it. You wouldn't have the same feeling of fear that's related to love because you're thinking, I might lose this feeling. I might lose this person. Something would happen. I've never felt this way before. We don't have this. We don't have this intensity for the simple reason that the intensity comes from the fact that it is ephemeral. And it does feel like we're finally reaching something that doesn't feel as separate as everything else we experience here. But at the same time, it's feeling that way because we do consider it separate. We do consider that the object of our love is something else. So while we want to think, as we already explained before, for example, there is no unconditional love here, Claire would have not loved her grandmother as much as she did if her grandmother had beaten her every day. So it's not about the essence. It's not that we love the essence, it's that we are loving our experience with a particular incarnation of the essence. And this seems very hard because we have such great experiences with some, and we say, oh, we have such a connection to them. The truth is, we said this many times, we're connected to all, and we are equally connected to all, as much as we want to pretend we aren't. We are equally connected to the dark, and we are connected to people that we love dearly in our families, our own pets, our own friends. We're connected to all in the same way, but we do want to experience, and we do marvel at how we feel, how some people make us feel. Now, we already know all feelings come from inside, but in this case, we truly play the game because we like to believe it's because of how someone else makes us feel. We don't feel this way towards everybody at a 3D level, so all of a sudden this person, John, shows up and Claire is feeling a certain way, so it must be John. John must be the special essence that Claire has a connection with. We know, we already know at a higher level, this is not how it works. John is Claire, and John is no different than anybody else. We even had a question from Mark, for example, several weeks ago, or in the last session, or the last two sessions, where he was talking about his twin flame. Many of us want to believe in twin flames. Why? because they feel special. We feel like there is this union waiting for us, something that is actually outside of the ordinary. And we are so thirsty, so hungry for extraordinary here, because we live in a very humdrum. This feels very humdrum to us, this reality. And not just here on this planet, on other planets, it works the same way. In fact, Claire has a follow-up question. She asked, is this how it works on other planets? Yes, it is, because the whole idea is to be separate. So of course there's separation everywhere within the matrix. So we do want to believe somehow a special connection will make us feel incredible. And we're meant to be together. And again, Mark was asking about a twin flame. He would meet this person, or this person has started something for him. And we had already said, no, you had a Kundalini awakening, which you're referring to as a Kundalini awakening, because you decided that it was time to wake up. And you used a trigger. You could have used a completely different trigger that had nothing to do even with human beings. You could have seen a puppy somewhere that would have caused the awakening. You could have seen a flower somewhere to cause the awakening. But you decided for the trigger to be this woman, and all of a sudden you think that she's special. Now, she might very well be special. We already said that. We're not trying to take away from this person, but that's not what caused the awakening. So when you feel love, it's not that all of a sudden the special person came into your life and you feel love. It's that you were ready to feel this, because it's one of the experiences we love having within the matrix. I mean, the whole idea of separation is that sometimes we could conjoin ourselves with somebody else, which is very different from what we experience in our daily life for decades, maybe, until we leave each life here. And so it's nice for a short period of time to feel like, oh, I'm so close to this person, which is just another layer of the game, for the simple reason that, again, this person is you. This person is not different from everybody else. You could feel the way that you feel towards this person, towards anybody else in your life, including your mailman that you only saw one time, because really everybody is the same. It's just what we choose the experience to be. And we choose with this person, we decide, okay, this is how it is. And we also said it's really the way that we play this game here. We really could have done without even the love. We could have just hated everybody, because that was the whole game here, right? To be separate. And therefore, I don't like you. Who are you? Get away from me. And they were laughing. We decided these are just ways, rules that were created within the game that we enjoy. We do enjoy being in love. All of us enjoy being in love. And the loving part that comes after, that's the tough part, right? And that's the tough part, of course, because again, we want to expect certain things from this person without realizing it's really us. It's just an experience we wanted to have. We happen to have at the same time as this person was having it, using us as a trigger. That's why love is very hard. And again, it's conditional here. Now, at a higher self level, as Clea has experienced, as many people have experienced, once you become one, you feel, you know that you're one with the all. Why don't we feel this way? Because at the end of the day, we are one. There's only us. So again, how do you feel towards your left arm? You don't have to. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to feel like you're going to lose your left arm and therefore you're like, oh my God, I love it so much. I love it so much. You have no fear about that. And therefore you don't even give it a second thought. You only give it a thought if, say, something happens to your left arm. So you get a mosquito bite and now you're scratching it. And even then you scratch a mosquito bite and then you move on with your life. So this is exactly how it feels. And Clea, when she wrote this question, she felt a pang of sadness in that she does enjoy this feeling of love. Of course, as we said, as many of us, as all of us do here. And she's wondering, why don't we have that at the higher self level? Because we all think, we all believe this, that at an enlightenment level, at the higher self level, we would have this love for all. Isn't that the message that we get drilled into us all the time? Pure love. We're going to have pure love. It's going to be a wonderful world in the future. There's only going to be love. We said a million times, we are everything. This pure love that we think about here, that we are so focused on, does not exist in its own shape. It's just another frequency. So you can feel it, but it doesn't feel at a higher self level. It doesn't feel the way that it feels here, because there's no other to love the way that we love here. There's no other. It's just you. And therefore, what is this love to others that we're thinking of? This is why we put so much emphasis on love here, because again, we're trying to rejoin with something. But what is this rejoining with something presupposing? It's presupposing that we are separate. So again, it's something that we experience here within the matrix. At the higher self level, where there is no separation, we don't have a need to feel this way. We already know. So yeah, it doesn't mean that we don't care. It doesn't mean that Clea, once she moves to New Earth, where again, we're not going to be our higher selves, but we're going to be pretty close to the consciousness we have in the 25th. It doesn't mean that she's not going to care about her grandmother. She's going to understand exactly how it is. And she's still going to want to see her if she's available to interact and to connect and all of that. And we're just using one example, but she's not going to feel desperate to connect. She's not going to feel this missing her like she does here. She's not going to feel this intensity of feelings that she feels here. It doesn't feel the same. Because once you're everything, and you're like air, for example, you are everywhere. You don't have the same concerns we have at this level. And at this level, we have these concerns because our experience, our memory is so short. And our experience here, these lifetimes are so short. Of course, on New Earth, when Clea spends 10,000 years with her daughter, is going to feel like this is right. But again, because on New Earth, we're going to have the same emotions we have here pretty much. Different knowledge, different understanding of things, different levels of acceptance, but we're still human. So we're going to enjoy. We're going to enjoy our friends, which again doesn't mean that at our higher self level, we don't care about our others. We're laughing here. You know what we call our others. Like, for example, people in the 14th dimension or whatnot, but it's different. We don't feel, because we have no fear of losing, and therefore we don't feel the same way. We don't have to worry. A lot of what happens here is that we worry. We feel like, oh my God, this is happening. It's never going to happen again. Or this is so unusual. I spent 30 years here. I've never been in love. This feels wonderful. I've got butterflies in my stomach. This is all that's happening. It's a 3D experience. We don't process love. We don't feel love the same way at a higher self level. So Claire is correct, but it's not a source. It's not a reason for sadness, the fact that she is correct. It's so much more serene at a higher self level. It is less worrisome. It is less fearful. Really, there is no fear. There is no worry. And this undercurrent of worry and fear is what fuels these strong emotions. Same thing with hate, right? We've spoken about this before. There is no anger here. There is no hate. There is nothing. We all pretend. So of course, if we're pretending, it means that our higher self level, these things are not real. And they're not, all these emotions are not real. We make them up here for entertainment. Love is no different an emotion than anything else. Lorrayne, except it feels really good. I adored my grandmother, and around her I felt safe. She taught me how to love, at least in the game. All right, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know some things are hard for us to hear. I can tell you this was hard for me, especially because I do miss very much some of the people I've lost in my life. So it's tough. It's tough one here. The separation game we play, definitely, it's almost like we're playing a trick on ourselves. And sometimes it's not so great. At any rate, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.